it comes to adjusting your bindings, one of the things that you might want to do as you get a little bit better at snowboarding is rotate the high back so that it's in line with the edge of your snowboard. This allows your legs to have a little more lateral flex. And again, it comes down to personal preference. Some people like it, some people don't. But regardless, we're going to show you how to do the high back rotation on all the fixed bindings. So to rotate your high backs, you're going to need two tools. One is a small flathead screwdriver, or even a kitchen knife if you don't have a flathead, and a pair of pliers to make a little modification to make sure it's set up for the future. The nice thing is you only need to do this once. Once it's set up, you're good to go. So the first thing you want to do to rotate those high backs is you want to turn over the binding. To remove the plugs on the binding, you want your flathead screwdriver, and there's notches engineered into the binding to help you get it out. It's really quite effortless to slide them out. There is a left and a right plug, so make sure that you look on the inside of the plug itself to see the R for right or the L for left, and that'll help you put them back in the right spot. You'll also notice that the plugs for the high back have two round circles, and those are just to keep your high back centered in the middle position. But if you're going to rotate them, you're going to want to take these little tabs off, and that helps you rotate the high back and lock it into the new position. So the one tool you'll need if you want to do high back rotation is a pair of good pliers. So these two round tabs you see on here are there to lock in the high back rotation in the zero position when it comes out of the box. But if you want to rotate it, you got to take these off. So just do a little twist motion and they come right off. They're designed to do that. So now you've got the ability to have three different positions for rotation. So you can see, you can move the high back into three different positions here, forward and backwards. So you want to rotate that entire high back and then lock these pins into that position, and you're set and you're good to go, and you never need to touch it again. So depending on your stance angle, you're going to want to rotate that high back in either direction so that your high back is perfectly aligned with the edge of your board. And again, this is totally personal preference. You don't have to do it. When you take the bindings out of the box, they're set at the zero position, and that's perfectly fine for most people. But some people like to tinker with things and really dial in their setup, and that's perfectly fine as well. It's all personal preference. So you can rotate the high back. You can see how it adjusts. It's got a nice little range to it. And then you're going to put those pins back in and lock it in place and mount your binding back to your board. So now that you've rotated your high back, you're going to lock them back in position with your left and right plugs, putting them in the right orientation. To get them flush, one of the tricks that you can do is put it flat on the table or on the board and push down. And that gets everything nice and flush, and now they're ready to be remounted to your board. I'm going to put some high back rotation on this just to show you that process as well. And there's three positions of high back rotation. You got to get the T-nut in the right orientation because it is flat on one side. I've selected the high back rotation that I want. I'm now going to position it inside the heel cup. And you have to make sure that the holes are all aligned correctly or else it won't go in. Once in place. So putting the ladders back on, now that you've got the high back in position, I like to put the hardware on the ladder first, and then getting it in position, tighten it up, there we go. Sometimes it's just finding the right spot for it to lock in position and get it nice and snug. And then on the other side with the ladder, put the hardware on and get it in position and tighten it up. You feel it engage in the threads, and you know when it's nicely aligned and it goes in properly.